In a previous vlog, I showed how calm the weather was in our area right before Storm Pepito with international name Manyi arrived. I will link that video down below, but on the early afternoon of November 16, things started to change. In this vlog, I'll be sharing the progress of the storm in our house for November 16. So there will be a lot of video clips of the garden, and I also showed my watch a lot because that is the quickest and most authentic way to show timestamps on video. The power in our house did go off and on a couple of times, so just to keep us connected to the internet despite the random power interruptions, I've already plugged the Wi-Fi router to the power bank. The internet connection was still normal at this point, but my desk is a bit of a mess. All of my electronic devices and power banks were fully charged, and because we had internet, technically I could work, but I just did not have the mind space for it. Although I did forget to charge my watch, which I finally thought of doing. Instead of working, I decided to distract myself from the storm by continuing to read this novel. This is Sinner by Carol James Marshall. At a little past 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we lost power in our house, but my watch was almost fully charged. This lamp is rechargeable. Those three other lamps are not. I use them for when I'm teaching English as a second language online. Internet connection is still okay, and this other lamp by my bed is also rechargeable. To save on lamplight, I turned off the rechargeable lamps and decided to stay in the living room, although I did have to put all of these things aside so I can use the couch. That is a cross-stitch project that I made almost 3 decades ago. I continued reading Sinner in the living room. I super appreciate the built-in front light of this Kindle Paperwhite because the power kept coming on and off randomly. I do have videos of this Kindle, which I will link down below. My parents decided to have one corner of the house wrapped with a tarp because the two windows over here are the most exposed to the wind. This gutter over here is new. This was added after Storm Christine flooded the carport on the other side of the house where my father's car always parks. It was a low flood, maybe just 2 to 3 inches, but it was still a flood nevertheless. This gutter goes to the drainage canal along the street outside our fence. At around a quarter before 7 o'clock in the evening, still no power, and from the living room I could hear what's going on outside, but I still went outside to see for myself. The wind has become stronger. Checking the weather reports on Facebook at shortly before 7, this is what local weatherman Mike Padua has posted. That small island that the eye of the storm is approaching is Catanduanes. Wind signal number 5 is up in Catanduanes and parts of the eastern coast of Camarines Sur, where I am. Signal number 4 is up on the rest of that same coast. And here is the post by the Department of Science and Technology, PAGASA, which is the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA for short. This is the rain warning levels for the next day, which would be November 17, and also for November 18. As for my reading, I was doing okay at this point. The power randomly coming on and off did not bother me at all. This novel, Sinner, by Carol James Marshall, who is an American with a Hispanic heritage, has a lot of Spanish phrases on here. Some I can translate on my own with my teeny tiny knowledge of Spanish, but when I can't, the Kindle can translate it for me. Most of the time, I did not even need to translate because the author has provided context in the body of the text itself, so I could mostly figure out what the Spanish phrases meant. I've been using my watch as a flashlight just because it's the most handy, because it's already always on me. And my Kindle was my little companion. Our power never returned after this point, so I mostly took videos using the built-in flash of the camera phone. In this video clip, you will hear sounds of the roof actually moving. The sound was coming from outside, so it's a little muffled, but you can still hear it. The sound of the storm is muffled inside the house, but here I am outside the back area of the house where the carport is. This is a covered area. It has a roof, but it has no walls, so you can better hear the storm from here. Siri, flashlight. It's on. I checked the news on Facebook of Mike Padua, and as of 8 o'clock, the storm has already arrived over Catanduanes, as you can see. And by 2 a.m. of November 17, the eye will be over water, but the rain bands will still affect the eastern coast of Camarines Sur. And here are the wind signals over the rest of the Philippines. It's mostly yellow for signal number 2, but we are right here where signal number 4 is. More forecast and a satellite image and another satellite image. I will link these pages down below. But then I noticed that the Wi-Fi router was blinking red, which meant that our internet connection has been lost. I kind of expected that, and I was even quite surprised that the connection managed to hold out for as long as it had. It is almost 10:30 on the night of November 16. I went back to the living room to continue reading, but at some points I had to pause to take more videos that captured the sound of the storm. The wind is very strong, as you can hear, and I did not even bother to go out anymore. I did keep the router plugged into the power bank in the hope that the internet would return, but it didn't. So to save on battery, I decided to unplug the router. And at past midnight, I decided to lie down in my bedroom. And even though I haven't finished reading this book yet, I decided to switch to a different book, which is this one. And I just continued reading until I fell asleep. The next morning at past 8 o'clock, there was hardly any rain left, but it was still a little windy, but not as bad as the night before. We did not have power yet, and the internet has not come back at this point. I don't know when I can have this video uploaded, but I will upload it as soon as I can.